What up, guys? I am finally back on my own motorcycle. So this is my Monster 821. Probably can't see it, but I got the Competition Werkes exhaust, motordynamic tail tidy. Overall, not a whole lot of modifications, but the ones I've done, I've really liked. So yeah, I'm about to head out to meet my buddy Taylor. You probably saw his bike earlier in my last video. You might have seen me in his video if you watch him. He was over earlier picking up his bike because we got our keys back, and I am on my bike for the first time in about a week, and it feels great. Definitely miss this thing. Not sure how much you can tell inside the helmet mic, but this thing sounds beastly. Yeah, it's super badass. I love it. Try to keep it quiet-ish around the kids. But most of them seem to like it. Oh yeah, it's good to be back. Oh, I've missed this thing. Okay, so now that I'm back on my bike, I figured a review's in order. Some people have asked for that, and I want to deliver. So this is the Monster 821, like I said, and like you can see on the tank. I had the Monster 696 before. It was totaled when it got run over by a delivery van. This Monster is so much better. So the 696 had about, I think it was 80 horsepower and change. This one comes with about 112. My exhaust is supposed to add like, I don't know, 1 or 2. I've also been able to lose about 10 pounds on the bike overall between the stock exhaust and the tail tidy, and just taking off random crap that you don't really need. Even mirrors, who needs mirrors? Got one over there, but you know, just trying to trim the fat a little bit. But you can definitely tell the difference. I mean, it's a whole new ball game. This thing really, really pulls. I haven't been riding all that long, so I haven't ever been on a leader bike, or I've ridden the 899 Panigale, and that thing was a whole crazy level of fast. This isn't anything like that, but I mean, this is my daily driver. I ride to work every day on this bike, so I'm no Marc Marquez, but for what I need, this thing is perfect. I will say the 696, I preferred the pegs and the positioning way better. That's the only thing I miss about my bike. You could really like lean on that and move around. On this one, I don't know if I can really let you see, but right here is a bracket for the passenger pegs, and from what I've heard, that's the one universal complaint about this bike. If you haven't sat on one of these, you'll sit on it and you'll say, whoa, what's this thing doing here? And I've talked to a couple sales guys, and that seems to be that the first complaint everybody has. Obviously, that'll get fixed by a set of rear sets. The only company I've found that does rear sets for this bike is called CNC Racing. They're in Italy, and their rear sets are like $1,300. So it's definitely not a quick and easy fix. Or it is not too difficult, but it's not cheap. So I don't know. I mean, you definitely get used to it. I don't dislike this bike because of it, but it's something to be aware of. So I'm not as aggressive in corners with this as I was with my 696. That and this is heavier. I mean, it's just a bigger bike. It's more powerful. It's a little heavier. But man, the Competition Werkes exhaust is unbelievable. So aggressive, so mean. Please don't turn left. Okay, we're gonna stop. So most Ducatis, the exhaust just sounds terrible that it comes with. Just awful. Super, super tinny. It just doesn't sound like a Ducati. Like, you pay good money for these things because they're awesome bikes and they should sound good. But, you know, there's laws and stuff that don't let it sound like it should, which I get. But the H21, the exhaust is pretty damn good, straight from the factory. But it is definitely not what it could be. I was really on the fence about getting an exhaust, and Taylor had to go get one, which means I have to go get one, and I am so glad I did, because yeah, this thing is a beast now. Depending on your kind of sound tolerance, I guess, it might be a little bit loud for you, but you can buy a DB killer for like $10 that just slides right in. There's a couple screws you take off, and it's supposed to make it much quieter. So, you know, it also, I think it's a 9-pound drop by itself. The stock exhaust is surprisingly heavy. It's pretty stout. It looks really cool though. It's kind of like a double barrel, similar to the Diavel. The different riding modes on this are great. I didn't even notice I was in touring. So as you can see, it tells you to close the gas, and now we're in sport. That's something a lot of people are impressed with. You can dynamically change riding modes on the fly, and it definitely becomes a different bike. But yeah, you can customize all those. If you're not familiar, they call it the Ducati Safety Pack. But you can change the throttle response, the level of ABS, and the level of traction control. And it'll say it has the full 112 horsepower in sport and touring. Touring just kind of evens out the throttle response a little bit, so it's not quite as snappy, which some people will prefer. It'll probably get you a little more fuel efficiency. I dropped probably 5 to 10 miles per gallon when I got my new exhaust, because I just engine brake all the time and yank the throttle much more than I need to, just because it sounds awesome. So if you're looking for, I don't know, if you want to ultra mile, get like 80 miles to the gallon out of your motorcycle, maybe don't get a new exhaust, because it just sounds too good not to use it. And if miles per gallon is what you're really concerned about, what are you doing on a Ducati anyway? Go get a Prius. I hear those are cool. Or if you actually want a cool electric car, get a Tesla. Speaking of Tesla, Elon, if you happen to watch my videos, which I'm sure you do, you need to get on an electric motorcycle. Mission makes some decent ones. Zero. I mean, there's a lot of respectable bikes out there that are electric, and everybody who rides them says, holy crap, this thing's amazing. But if Tesla got behind an electric motorcycle, especially if you partnered with Ducati, that would be something I would sell this thing in a heartbeat for. Because I can't imagine the machine they would come up with. So Tesla, make me a bike. That was a bad shift. I'd sell my left nut for a Tesla motorcycle. I'd probably sell both. I don't need them. I got 3 kids. And I guess people would say, if you ride an electric motorcycle, you must have no balls. You, sir, are correct. Anyway, back to this bike. Yeah, I'll ride this rain or shine, any weather, because I got to get to work. I got a rain suit when it's really bad weather, but it'll take anything. No problem. It's a really comfortable sitting position. I wouldn't say it was as comfortable. Well, I mean, it's definitely different than the Hyper. The Hyper that I had before is much more upright. Your knees aren't bent nearly as much on the Hyper, which is a little bit of personal preference. The first time, like when I first sat on my bike again after being on the Hyper, it felt weird because I was like, man, I am super bunched up on this thing, which is so bizarre because I ride my bike all the time, but you go a week on a different bike and all of a sudden the one you're used to feels weird. But I mean, it's been like 15 minutes on my bike and now I'm right at home. So I like it. This is my speed. To be totally honest, the Hyper was the first bike I really fell in love with, but it was too expensive. So I got the 696, and I have just been in love with monsters ever since. But if you're looking in the market, or if you're in the market for a Ducati, I would definitely recommend ride both. Most Ducati dealers have no problem with you going out on a test ride, at least with their entry-level bikes. I mean, the Hyper and Monster are both would be considered entry, so they're definitely going to have a demo bike. And if your local dealer doesn't demo either the Monster or the Hyper, they suck. So you need to find a better one. And more than likely, you aren't going to be buying a motorcycle very often. I happen to know people that like to buy one every 6 months, but you know, that's not normal. So if you're only going to be buying one once every couple years, it's worth an hour or so drive. If you know, if your dealer sucks and one nearby sucks less or is awesome. The one thing I do kind of wish I could change on my bike, the handlebars are much higher and wider than I'm used to coming from the 696, and I wish I could lower them just a bit. I was considering clip-ons before, and man, that fork is so low now, I don't know if clip-ons would work unless it had like a 4-inch riser, which might look ridiculous, but I need to figure out something. So if anybody knows a slightly lower bar, Rizoma's got a drag bar, but that's lower, but it seems even wider, so I don't know if that's going to work. So if anybody knows something for the Monster, let me know. I can't even find freaking clip-ons for this thing. I could find a spot up here. Somebody's gonna be slow. I'm on the prowl. Pounce on the slow people. Ha! I found my gazelle. Alright, I'm looking for some place called Picnic. I don't know where it is. These cones are just for cars, right? Motorcycles don't count. So I'll try to do a video at some point later, but overall I really like these, the Motor Dynamic tail tidy and integrated tail light combo. It really cleans up the back end, but it has a, we'll call it a feature that I'm ready to get rid of. There's a bug in the chip that anytime, like right now, after, yep, there it is, at 217, the radiator fan kicks on. If that fan is on while I brake, I get that nice little engine light, which means my brake light is not going to work until I'm back down below 210 and the fan's off. Not really a huge deal, because the only time that happens is when I'm in something like this. So not really moving. The car behind me probably sees that I'm stopped, but I don't have a brake light. They have a chip that's fixed that they're sending to me now, and Harry over at Motor Dynamic has had great support, so it should be resolved soon. But until then, I have to turn my bike off and turn it back on to get this brake to fix. Oh well. It happens. Oh, come on. Oh yeah, I should have known better. Taylor posted a video earlier where he said that the road was closed. I have a feeling that's what he's talking about. That's what I get. Alright guys, well, that is my review of the Monster 821. Overall, fantastic, amazing bike. I love it. You should buy one. I'm going to meet up with Taylor. I'll probably do a video with him. But until then, I'm out. See y'all later.